17 months ago, we left Canada's northernmost drivable point. Since then, we've driven more than 40,000 kilometers to reach southern Peru. From the top of North America to the heart of South America, the Pan American Highway has already given us a lifetime's worth of knowledge, wonder, and hard-earned experience. Through it all, us in our trusty van have felt unstoppable, unrelenting, almost invincible. Until now. For the first time in 3 years of living on the road in our van, pushing it far beyond its intended limits, we're finally broken down and stuck. 10 days of waiting for parts has forced us to stop, breathe, and recuperate. So here we are, broken down in paradise.
Ready?
Hey!
Okay. Hey there, folks. How's it going? Welcome to Huacachina, Peru. As you guys know, we're stuck here. We're on day 6 right now, I think.
7,
and we have 3 nights left until the earliest predicted date of our starter arriving. So it's been interesting. So a while back, we asked for questions from all of you to do kind of Q&A video. And of course, as we're not out shooting all of the cool places, we're actually taking some time off and not going anywhere. We don't have any kind of like new and exciting footage. So we're going to do our Q&A and hopefully you get your questions answered. We got a lot of questions on this one, a lot. So I had to kind of prune. We've grouped questions in kind of a way that we can answer a whole bunch all at once. And a lot of your questions were more or less about the Pan American Highway. So we're going to kind of focus on that a little bit. There were some other kind of more personal things, but we're gonna just kind of stay away from that for now. Maybe we'll do it in a different one. And we'll do this as quickly as we can. So first question is, what are your plans for after the Pan American Highway? Our simple and quick answer for that is that is a information that is reserved for our patrons only. We've got big plans, lots of really cool stuff in the pipeline. Okay, next question. Will Meg ever have a cookbook or her own cooking show?
That's definitely in the plans. A cookbook is like part of the big goal, maybe at the end of our travels. The problem is that producing a cookbook is a very labor-intensive pursuit, and it's just not possible while we are on these epic overland adventures. There's just not enough space in the van to carry enough groceries to test recipes multiple times, and there is not enough mouths to feed to be able to do that. Plus, we've got to do a whole photography thing and everything. So one day I'll be able to quit my job and focus a little bit more on my contribution to the videos, and that's definitely going to be a bigger focus on cooking. So one day soon you'll see a little bit more cooking footage in our videos.
That's just as our channel grows, of course. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone about the Slow Roamers so that we get all those subscribers.
And then I can quit my job.
And then she can quit her job.
What's happening to Betty once you're done the PanAm?
We are selling the van in Santiago, Chile.
Well, we'll try to anyways.
We will try to. There might be some complications there, but if we can find another Canadian buyer that's willing to purchase the vehicle and drive it south to north, that would be great. So any of you out there looking to do the Pan American Highway?
Doesn't need to be a Canadian buyer. They can be from anywhere, but the idea is that they would travel along the Pan American Highway.
Yeah. Or just South America or whatever.
Yeah, because we can't import the van. It's super expensive, so yeah. It has to be another traveler. Yeah,
it's too expensive for us to ship back. How did you decide to do the Pan American Highway?
On our first trip south together, we were somewhere along the California coast, and that's where we made the decision together. We had met and pretty much immediately moved into Betty and set off on our first trip down south. When we were leaving, we met up with Matt and Stacey for the first time, and they were super busy building Sunday in preparation to set off on the PanAm. Alex had dreamed of doing the PanAm since 2018 when he met another couple doing it in Baja. I've always been a pretty avid world traveler, so yeah, I think it was just a great idea and an easy sell for me who had no idea what the PanAm was. And yeah, and then we got busy trying to figure out how to make it work, how to earn money on the road, and what exactly we needed out of a vehicle on this long of a journey.
Yeah, so that's where like we basically spent an extra year preparing. So it was building up Betty to become more comfortable and capable, and also like
building the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and I was looking for a job the whole time, and we were just saving, working and saving.
Yeah. I wasn't really saving, I was just pouring money into the van.
Yeah, I was working and saving for both of us. What camera and software do you use, Alex?
That's an easy one. I use a Sony a6700 with a 18 to 105 f4 lens for pretty much everything. Occasionally I'll switch up to a 70 to 200 f4 or a 10 to 8 to 10 wide. Our drone is a DJI Air 3S drone, and we use a collection of action cameras. So we have a Osmo 5 Pro, and I think we have a GoPro 11 Black or something like that. And for software, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I've been sucked into the Adobe sphere and I can't get out of it. So I guess I'm paying that for the rest of my life. This one was asked by a lot of folks, and I think this is really good information. Meg does a great job of explaining this. What documents are required to cross all those borders? Where do you buy your insurance? Do you get one policy for the whole trip or one in each country? How do you handle different currencies? How do you manage renewing your provincial license and registration while on the road? What are the implications of being out of the country for so long for health insurance, taxes, citizenship, etc.?
Okay, so for crossing borders, essentially you need vehicle title registration, the license of whoever is on the title, both of your passports, and then it's a good idea to have copies of all three so that you don't have to mess around going to get copies at some borders. And then the best resource in preparation as you're approaching the borders is just to look on iOverlander and check the exact border you're planning on crossing and read the accounts of other travelers that have done it recently. There's so many people, helpful people on there that have left like super detailed reports, and that's really great because it gives you an idea of like what you're about to encounter, and they list out like which different buildings, because generally you're getting your TIP, doing immigration are in two different buildings. So yeah, use iOverlander and have those 3-4 documents. For car insurance, you can generally get car insurance on arrival once you cross the border for each country. There are a handful of countries on the PanAm that do not require car insurance, and we didn't get it for those countries, but every other country has been on arrival at the border. I think it might work a little different between Argentina and Chile, but we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. For currencies, so we pay with card where we can, but it's mostly cash down here. So we have to withdraw the local currency from ATMs when we arrive in the country. And that's easy enough. Usually there's an ATM at the border. If not, there's an ATM at the first place that I'll do my big grocery shop.
Sometimes there's money changer guys, and occasionally have good rates.
Yeah, so when you're crossing from international to international, I do my best to spend all of the previous country's currency before we cross into the next, because it's a bad rate when you exchange it with the money exchangers. But with whatever I have left over, I'll change it to the next country's currency, and that just gives us a little bit of a purse to go find the ATM with. So we made sure that our license was up to date before we left Canada, so that we didn't
5 years in Canada.
Yeah, so that we didn't have to deal with an expiring license while we were on the trip. And then for registration, I can only speak for BC. With ICBC, you can sign up for like an away policy. I forget what exactly it's called, but I pay about $10 a month, and that keeps my registration active. That being said, I would say most travelers on the Pan American Highway just let their registration expire and Photoshop their original to change up the year. Most borders aren't concerned with your home registration being expired or active, but there have been 2 that have cared. So Yeah, it kind of just depends if you're a rule follower there and if your province or state has a way to keep your registration active. I know it's not possible for some. So we have a emergency medical policy for our whole trip, just in case anything major goes wrong. For BC, you technically are not allowed to be outside of the province for over 6 months and have your healthcare remain active, but you can put in a call to BC MSP before you leave for a long journey and just let them know what the situation is, and they will generally extend it for until the end of your trip. They just need some proof that you're not moving out of province, and then your medical insurance can stay active. And as well for like citizenship and residency, as long as you don't actually change your address, you remain a resident of where you came from. Why are you driving the PanAm so quickly? What is your end date? What is your pace of travel? How many days a week do you drive? How far do you normally drive? How many miles or kilometers have you traveled since you left?
My first response to that is that I don't think that we're driving the Pan American Highway that fast. Everyone drives at their own rate, but our trip is going to be 23 months long from top to bottom, and that is pretty standard for most travelers, if not a little bit longer. We've definitely had friends that have driven the Pan Am in like under a year, which we think is pretty quick. So yeah, I just think that we're doing it at our own pace and that it's not that fast. Having said that, there is a seasonality to some of the things that you can see on the Pan American Highway. One of which is really close to us, the Uyuni Salt Flats. And they flood in the rainy season, and then you can't drive on them. And it's been a dream of mine to drive on the Uyuni Salt Flats since I learned about them. We're getting really darn close to December when they flood, and you kind of have to hustle for that. We're on a trip that is spanning a continent, and we want to like smash out everything that we can do, you know, in one shot, right? Because the likelihood of us coming back here close to now or within a few years is very minimal.
Or ever.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'd like to come back one day, but end date is May 2026, so we still have 6 months on this trip. I guess a lot of people don't realize that, but we're actually going all the way to Ushuaia, and then we're going back up to Santiago. We're landing in Ushuaia around March, and then we have like 3 months of travel to get back up to Santiago. So there's a lot of adventure content coming. Our pace of travel was as quick and as slow as we can go. And I know that sounds confusing, but it makes perfect sense because here in South America, the roads are not always that great. And so we're moving as quickly as we can to make it the distance that we want to drive in a day. And usually that is only like 100 to 200 kilometers at most. And we want to get there within 8 hours. So just put that into perspective. We want to enjoy what we're seeing and what we're driving through. So we stop a lot and take videos and photos and all that stuff, but we also have to make a destination. We don't really like hunting for a camp spot if we can help it.
How many kilometers have you traveled since you left?
I don't know for sure, but we're in or around about 40,000 kilometers since we left.
Yeah, and we've probably got over 10 to go.
Yeah. Do you still have your sourdough starter?
I do. So I had to dehydrate it to cross the Darien because the van was going to be stuck in a container for however long in the blazing sun. So we had to obviously turn off all our power. And it is still in my cabinet dehydrated. I really want to rehydrate it, but I have been a combination of lazy and nervous because baking at altitude has been really tricky, and so add in a sourdough starter and it gets even trickier. So we'll see if Chad gets rehydrated on this trip.
Yeah, we're gonna be down at sea level for a large portion of time when we're in Chile and parts of Argentina, so
you can expect some sourdough then.
Yeah, and it's gonna be cold there, so lots of baking.
Do you wish you had 4x4? Have you regretted not having 4x4? Do you ever think you will upgrade to a more powerful four-wheel drive vehicle?
So yes to all three. At the very least, we wish we had a transfer case so that we could get that lower gearing. But yeah, all the time, we wish we had 4x4. Traction has never been an issue except once in Costa Rica when we got stuck in the mud. Otherwise, the van is so heavy. She's got the locker in the back. We just have piles of traction, but we just don't have the gears. There haven't been a lot of times where we have totally regretted not having 4x4. Maybe a very select few times where we couldn't make it to somewhere, but that was really only in Central America, where they basically just build roads straight up the side of mountains and without switchbacks. Will we upgrade? Yeah, I mean, I sold a Toyota pickup before we left to kind of fund the trip and fund some other stuff. And yeah, I would love to have another 4x4 truck again one day. So that will definitely
That's in the cards.
happen. Yeah. What is the most scared or scariest situation that you have experienced while on the Pan American Highway? And how did you plan and save routes through dangerous countries?
So I'll start by saying we really have not been scared or in a scary situation on the Pan American Highway yet. Maybe the thing that comes to mind actually is when that motorcycle with the two kids came flying out of a corner and hit us.
Yeah, and then there was the Copper Canyon. We were pretty nervous then.
Yeah, nervous, but like in hindsight, there's no fear. And then as for routes through dangerous countries, we wouldn't say that there has been any dangerous countries on the Pan American Highway. They're just countries, and the people are generally great. We haven't met really any bad actors, and we hope to keep it that way. I would say just be smart, have a smile on your face, and you'll be fine. So fingers crossed that works for us for the rest of the trip. And for routes, generally Alex compiles a bunch of pins off of Instagram, other YouTube videos, Google, and then as we're entering a country, we will pull up all those pins and make sure that they all make sense for us, and then they will kind of connect an interesting route through the pins using Gaia.
Meg, are you still working, and what do you do?
I am working part-time. I work for a company that contracts out executive assistants. So I am an executive assistant for a couple of people in the States, and I'm a contractor, so my company doesn't mind where I am in the world. And yeah, right now I just work a couple of hours each day, and yeah, that's that.
And remember, tell your friends about slow roamers so that Meg doesn't have to work anymore.
How do you manage the big emotions, the uncertainty at times, and the challenges of navigating a relationship under these conditions?
This is a fantastic question.
Yeah.
We really like this question.
Yeah.
With full transparency, we are in couples counseling right now. And that has been a decision that we've made because we want to maintain our relationship and continue to have a good relationship. After Matt and Stacey passed away, things in the van got pretty challenging. That experience hit us like a friggin' bus. Mm-hmm. Like, it really hit us hard. We found that we just weren't really equipped to deal with that kind of grief and a relationship. And we started getting a little bit more prickly and finding that we were fighting a lot more often and stuff. The counseling is in place. It's been really good. Just learning some tactics and some communication methods, etc. But we've also always been a couple that we've communicated really well, really avidly, and really immediately. And because we're in such a small place or living area, we have to deal with our issues. Otherwise, we're going to wind up not finishing this trip. We not only want to stay together, we want to finish this trip. And we've heard about people that have broken up midway down the PanAm because this trip is just really, really challenging. And yeah, it totally has the potential to tear people apart because, you know, you have to deal with so many things in any given day. What motivates you to be entrepreneurs? What will keep you going?
This right here. Yeah, the ability to do something like the Pan American Highway is really what motivates us, and what motivated us at the very beginning. Like we desperately wanted to find a way to live life exactly how we wanted to live it and sustain ourselves along the way. We were both coming from stints of travel where we would have to return home and work for a season in order to travel again, and we were both really fed up with that way of living because it like kept us chained to home.
Anchored.
Yeah, it kept us anchored at home. So yeah, that's what motivated us to find a way to become entrepreneurs and sustain ourselves on the road, and what will continue motivating us is seeing this big, beautiful world.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to say that not having a boss is great.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
Meg is almost there. I started a YouTube channel because I get to do whatever I want and create whatever I want, and I don't have someone telling me where to go every single day.
Yeah, not having a boss comes with its own challenges. Like, I would say that we never stop working.
Do what you love and you'll work every day of your life or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So that's pretty much what we're doing right now, is like, we never stop, but we love it. So it's really fulfilling, and we don't want to stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Maybe you guys keep it more real than other travelers, but I get the feeling you'd much rather be wrapped up in a blanket, sipping maple syrup and watching the moose walk by instead of traveling. Why don't you take a vacation instead of sitting in your van talking about how you need a vacation? I don't know if you saw the eye roll. Whoever asked that.
Yeah, we do a keep it real. That is kind of, we'll call it our brand for our channel. Like, we want to keep it as real and transparent as possible. What we see on YouTube is a highlight of everyone's life. And although doing the Pan American Highway is an incredible opportunity, and there's so many experiences, a lot of those experiences are really hard. They're really challenging, and you're just in it every single day. So we don't want to just gloss over the fact that we're struggling and that we had to do something really, really hard. And I think that gives our videos and our story a level of authenticity that most people are unwilling to give. So we're not going to stop telling you guys the realities of this trip, because it's not a vacation. It's living life on the road. It's dealing with everything you would deal with back home, but on just a few notches.
Amplified.
Yeah. A few notches higher, amplified. And vacation, we're kind of on a forced vacation right now.
Yeah, Alex was mentioning to me last night that we've never said that we want to go on a vacation.
Yeah.
We say that we're tired a lot, and that we're tired, exhausted, and that's just our reality. And I think that we're allowed to share that, and I think it adds some realness to our channel. It's definitely not that we want to be cuddled up at home not doing this, because we love what we're doing and we think it's really important. So,
I mean, it does sound wonderful being cuddled up drinking maple syrup and watching moose go by.
Yeah, that's totally what we do in Canada. The whole place, that's all they do in Canada. Yeah.
All right, this was another big ask, or lots of people had this question. Favorite place on the trip? Anywhere you could call home. And your least favorite place or section on the Pan American Highway?
So our favorite place on the trip so far, I'd have to say, is Peru. Mexico is a second country favorite, I would say. But Peru has just been absolutely incredible in every single way. Amazing food, the most epic landscapes around every turn. The people are awesome. The markets are amazing. We just absolutely love it here, and we can't wait to continue traveling after we get unstuck. Least favorite stretch of the Pan American Highway was 100% Central America. It was so hard to be there because of the just oppressive heat and humidity without air conditioning. And we'll get to the air conditioning question.
Yeah. I made a travel documentary about Central America, and I didn't hold back on telling people it was really freaking hot. And
we're sorry, Central America. Like, we love the countries, were amazing, but we really couldn't enjoy it because the heat and humidity was so intense for us in the van.
Yeah.
And when you're that hot and you can't escape it, you just don't have the capacity for much else. And we were working, so that was it. That zapped it. As far as places we could call home, this trip has made us appreciate where we're from so much. It's just insane. So Canada, specifically BC or the Yukon, maybe, we'll see, is the only place that we could imagine calling home. We love Latin America, but we couldn't imagine
dealing with all the bureaucracy.
Yeah, living here. It just sounds like a lot of paperwork when we love where we're from so much. What would you both say you've learned about yourselves? What's the most significant way you've changed since starting this journey?
Okay, we definitely have learned a lot, and I think we've changed a lot. I don't know if we've found ourselves, but
we're pretty old. I think we've already done that.
Yeah. I think in terms of what we've learned about ourselves, we've learned what we don't like. And we just covered that. We don't like traveling in heat and humidity. when we first started this trip, you know, I talked a lot about on our videos about how we're inviting challenge and struggle into our lives to learn how to be like better, stronger people. We gladly invited a place like Central America into our lives, and that was really freaking challenging. And I think that we've learned that it's okay for us to
not want
that challenge, and to go to places that we really want to go, instead of just like going to the hardest places in the world
just for the sake of the struggle.
Yeah, just for
or
that
just
struggle.
Yeah.
So like we've experienced that struggle, and we'll continue to experience like different challenges and struggles while we're on this trip. And I think all of that is helping us grow. Yeah, we don't have to go the next degree. In terms of how we've changed, Meg touched on it already, but our level of appreciation for the things that we have back home has increased tenfold. We look at what we have, which is like, even in the van, it's often more than a lot of the people who live here in South America. Trying to fix the van and find things that we need is so much more challenging here in South America. I mean, yes, we're not locals, we don't know where to buy things, but the supply chain is so much less here. And at home, we have things like Amazon, where we can press click or press buy, and then it's at our doorstep without us having to go anywhere within just like a few days or even a few hours, which is crazy. And we just have so much convenience back home, and things have a level of kind of like stability that they just don't have here. I think we're both really appreciative of the things that we have. And
you're gonna hold on to that.
Yeah, we really want to hang on to that when we're back home as long as we possibly can, because we'll be happier.
Have you thought about re-gearing Betty? Why didn't you do that?
Okay, so many people have made this comment, and I'm gonna post the video right here. I'm pretty sure I have at least 2, possibly 3 about how we re-geared Betty. We did it about 1.5 years ago. We re-geared to 410s, which is like the perfect gear ratio for the size tires we have. If I had known how slow we would be driving in South America, I might have gone to 488s, but otherwise our RPMs would be screaming way too high at highway speeds in US and Canada. That has been done already. What is your monthly budget? Are you managing to stay within it? How much do you spend on gas each month?
Our monthly budget when we left the US was about $1,500 to $2,000 USD per month. Right now we're spending between $2,000 and $2,500 Canadian per month, which is definitely more than I had anticipated spending south of the US border. What we spend on gas per month is between $600 and $900 Canadian. So that's a big spend for us. And then the other like major thing we spend money on is food. Everything else is quite small. In the recent months, we've had a little bit more spending to do on Betty, so it's kind of increased that budget. But yeah, I would say that it's reasonable to think to do the PanAm somewhere between 1,500 Canadian and 2,500 Canadian. But yeah, I wouldn't want to have a very strict budget on the Pan American Highway because things pop up all the time that you're not expecting. And yeah, it would be just really hard to pinch pennies on this journey. What is your average fuel economy? How often are you stressed about fuel availability and quality?
This is also a question that a lot of people ask. Our fuel economy has stayed pretty much bang on at 10.8 miles per gallon, which isn't amazing, but it's not horrible considering we are driving a 9,000 pound van at like almost cruising altitude for jets. And lots of people have asked like about fuel availability and quality in South America. There are more gas stations in South America than there are in the United States and Canada. There's so many towns, like little towns, and often they have a gas station. It may be like a chain gas station or just a small one. Yeah, there's just so many gas stations out here. We've been continuously amazed. In terms of quality, I don't know. We've been filling up with premium.
And we're filling up at like major gas stations.
Yeah,
like they look like just like home, if not grander. So it feels like we can trust the fuel.
But I've just been told that apparently using a lower octane gasoline at high elevation is better. So I'm gonna try that. Something to note is that there's no 85 or even 87 in a lot of these countries. They go from like 91 and up, which is actually kind of wild.
Yeah.
When you're driving the same roads as Matt and Stacey, do you feel their presence?
Yes, 100%. As you guys know, we're on a bit of a like sticker Easter egg hunt where we go to some of the same places as them. And so Alex is pretty well versed in their videos, and he will sometimes watch them like as we approach them where we know that they've been, and he'll find the sticker on the video and then we'll go find it in real life. But sometimes we get to a place like this place that we're in right now, and we walk into the kitchen and we see the TWR sticker, and it's just really special, and we feel them with us whenever we find those stickers. And then also whenever we're like in spots that they've been where they've created like epic drone shots or something like that, we've been trying to recreate those, and it really feels like they're watching us. Yeah. They're smiling down on us when we do that. I've said that it feels like they're inside the drone before.
We're gonna call our Air 3S Matt and our Mini Stacey, and then we're gonna fly them into the sunset together.
If you take the trip again, would you take Betty or a different vehicle? Would you choose a smaller vehicle to do the PanAm, or are you happy with the van? Would you do the Pan American Highway without AC? Why do you not have AC in your van, and why the choice to not have AC?
I think that Betty has actually been like almost the perfect vehicle for the Pan American Highway. Aside, of course, from not having four-wheel drive, we would love to have that. But in terms of size, the Chevy Express platform, or even like a Ford Econoline, kind of like that size with the short wheelbase, we're finding is perfect for size, because the living space inside is great to just be able to get out of the elements, do all of your cooking and living inside when weather kind of sucks outside, which honestly, like since we've been on the PanAm, we've had a very small handful of like perfect days where we want to be outside. There's always like wind or rain or intense bugs or people, like too many people around, and we're like, oh, we just don't want to be outside. So having the interior space has been really good. The short wheelbase and the steering radius has been great, and then the width has been like totally acceptable to drive through like the narrower streets. We're not looking for power lines overhead all the time. We're not worrying about our mirrors too much. So size has been amazing.
For AC, I bought Betty in the wintertime in Canada without AC in the cab. She just is a model that doesn't have AC, and I just never thought.
Yeah. It's actually really common in Canada for older vehicles not to have air conditioning in them. And Betty was just one of those vehicles. I mean, had we known how hot and how miserable we would be, maybe we would have made the change. But again, it was one of those situations where we ran out of time and money. Like, putting air conditioning into the vehicle would have been a pretty big operation and just expensive, and we didn't have that money before we left. Mm-hmm. So yes, we will have a vehicle with air conditioning one day, but
it wasn't really a choice.
It wasn't a choice.
Betty.
Does van life with a less showered lifestyle affect the romance for like dating and sex? It
yes.
does, yeah. Totally.
Simply, yes. Yeah, mostly him, gets really stinky, and we are that way a lot of the time. So you do the math. Could you imagine living in a van with another small human? If you did have children, how do you think your travels would change?
No, it's very similar to our no animals rule. Having a child or a pet just adds a level of complexity to our travels that we're not interested in having. So yes, we've come across a lot of dogs that people wish we would take home with us, but we're just like, we don't want to cross borders.
And yeah, the van's the perfect size for the two of us, and there is no room for any other living beings.
Yeah. We've met people on the road that have kids with them, and they're better people than us, just straight up. Are you still enjoying the trip or eager to get to Ushuaia?
I would say that and I think I can speak for both of us, are enjoying the trip more than ever now that we're in Peru and in like the final 4 countries that we've been looking forward to so much. So I would say that we're absolutely still enjoying the trip. We only have things that we're super excited for, to look forward to. We are eager to get to Ushuaia at the same time and just like finish this epic expedition with a van that still works, I would say.
Yeah. Ushuaia is just a destination. We're more about the journey.
Yeah. You had a road shower before. Why did you remove it? Do you regret this decision? Would you do anything differently with your van build knowing what you know now? Are there any creature comforts that you would have built in to make your journey less exhausting?
Okay, so we did have a shower and it was attached to our surfboard rack. We decided, of course, not to bring surfboards with us because
we realize that we're not surfers, and we're not the type of people that like seek out and wait for good waves.
And when I removed that surfboard rack, the shower went with it, and I couldn't figure out a way to mount it without drilling holes in the side of the van, and the whole interior was already built.
Yeah, so we took down the shower and we ran out of time to figure out a smart way to re-affix it.
Like, that's the creature comfort that probably we wish we had.
Yeah, for sure.
Is a shower.
A shower, yeah. Like
and
maybe
air conditioning.
more water and a shower.
Yeah, definitely more water.
Yeah.
How well do you speak Spanish?
We say más o menos. Well, I say más o menos. More or less, we can confidently get by on the things that we need to do, like border crossing, all of our errands, camping, etc., etc. As soon as a little bit more nuance gets built into conversations, I get a little bit lost. However, I can pretty well understand what's going on. It's just the speaking that I struggle with. We haven't had very much time and energy to devote to constant language learning, so we've kind of put that on the back burner. Yeah. But yeah, we're learning as we go, and we're getting better every day. Missing the god of rain?
Always. Zeka, we miss you so much.
Yeah.
Bro, you gotta come down here and overland travel and all that stuff.
Yeah,
You're gonna
come
love
on.
it.
Just fly.
But we're gonna one day hopefully make it back to Costa Rica.
No, Zeka, you're coming to Canada.
Yeah, come to Canada, show you around.
How's the beer? Is it easy to find, and what's the price like?
Beer is really easy to find, but it's mostly kind of like a lighter water beer in most countries, and it's really cheap. Yeah, we try and make it to breweries when we can, but there are not a lot of craft breweries in South America.
Only in major towns, and we sometimes go looking if we have a recommendation.
The Peruvian Pilsen is really good though. Why don't you share the towns you visit and grocery shopping, etc.? Why does Alex stay with the vehicle and Meg go shopping for groceries, but then sometimes you both go walking through town, leaving the van unattended?
With errands around town, we generally like to take a divide and conquer approach, because that way one person always stays with the van. Every time we leave the van, it's a risk. We could have somebody walk up and rob us, and so we like to minimize that as much as humanly possible. The times that you do see Alex coming with me are generally when we're going to like big cultural markets, and he's coming because we both want to have that awesome experience in the markets, and it's worth the risk on those occasions. I also need his help a whole lot more when we're in those markets to carry stuff around, because there's obviously no buggies like there are in regular grocery stores. Sometimes he does accompany me in the regular grocery stores because we have safe parking, but I am in charge of all of the shopping and the meal planning, so I'm really in control of the decisions that get made in terms of food, so I don't really need him along a lot of the time, so he'll stay with the van. Along with that, it can be really challenging to film in towns. One, we really don't like to invade people's privacy that way, like putting people on camera without asking their permission first. The other thing about filming in towns is that carrying around the big multi-$1,000 camera just puts a target on our back, and sometimes we just really don't feel like walking around with that super expensive piece of equipment that is in charge of our livelihood largely around towns and kind of just like waving it around. So yeah.
How and where do you go to the bathroom when you're on those scary roads? Do you have a portable toilet? Do you use your box too often? What do you do when you get sick?
So we have never used our Boxio. I think I used the Boxio one time when we were in Baja like 2 years ago. We have been super lucky, and we have only gotten sick once, majorly, like in the bathroom kind of way, on this trip. And when we got sick, we were at a campsite with showers and toilets. And so that's been really lucky, and we hope it stays that way. As for going to the bathroom, we tend to go to the bathroom before we embark on the scary road adventures. And we are usually camping in like super wild spaces where it's really easy to just take a hike with a shovel, dig a deep hole, and go to the bathroom there. We pack out all of our toilet paper in doggy bags. What's the most common thing you've had to fix on the van?
Brakes. Always brakes. I've talked many times about the Chevy brake rattle and the funny design for the brake pads inside of the caliper. And I've more or less sorted out a fix for it, but yeah, I'm constantly pulling apart our brakes and servicing them, making sure that they're working properly and not rattling. I mean, obviously we've had some transmission issues.
Some other small things, but
yeah,
brakes are the most common for sure.
Also, I had one last thing to say. Lots of people have suggested some like big fixes for the issues that we've had, like why don't you install electric clutch or electric fan. And I just want to tell people that the supply chain out here is not like North America. Finding things like that is a real challenge, and our van does not exist here in Peru. So finding anything for a Chevy Express, we pretty much have to ship from the States. That kind of upgrade, that kind of change or modification to the van, I don't want to do while we're traveling. And we're selling the van. So I don't want to put tons of money into the van, a van that we are selling at the end of the PanAm. When we do sell, the van is going to be in the best possible repair. We're going to make sure that it's running and driving, and we'll continue to do so. But in terms of upgrading it at this point,
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense for us. All
right. Well, hopefully we answered all of your questions.
And if you guys made it this far, congratulations. You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And thank you for all of your questions.
See you on the next one.
Fingers crossed we're moving. All right, later.